Hi, and welcome to Craft Along with Jay. And if you're new, welcome. My name is Yetta, and I am so happy you could join me today. Today, I'm teaming up with my sweet, sweet friend Nikki from Nikki's Eye for DIY, and this is our all about animals. We have a soft spot for animals, and we wanted to make sure we highlight that somewhere around once a month when we get around to it. So this is going to be a fun one. Now, today I only got one, but it's kind of a process, and I kind of want you to see the whole process, how this whole thing comes to life, especially when you're working with clay. I am going to use the snow globe mold that I got from IOD collection this year, and here I'm prepping it with some baking soda so my clay won't uh, stick too hard when I'm trying to get it out of the mold. And this kind of helps with the release process. So I picked the snow globe that I want to use. It has a lot of details to it and it's very Christmassy. Um, and we're going to make this a woodland scene in our little snow globe. And I'm so excited to share this with you. So sit back and enjoy. Here I'm just getting my clay and I'm pressing it in, making sure I get all the way out to the edges and pressing it down and kind of scraping up the excess of the clay that we're not going to use that kind of goes over the edge. And I'm pressing it real good because I want all the details to show. And here, if I have a little bit of clay kind of around the edges, I just kind of went in with my fingernail and um, kind of push it in, or I scrape it off. And then um, I'm going to go ahead and get all the little animals in here. There's a fox, a squirrel, a deer, and a bunny. And then I'm also going to get some snowflakes and some stars. So there's a couple of other things here that we're not going to use. The snow globe is only, so big. So, but I definitely wanted the little animals in there, make it a woodland scene. And yeah, there's also a couple of trees we're going to add, part of the woodland scene. So I'm so excited for this one. Really, really hope you enjoy this whole process, watching this come to life from blank clay to something really amazing. So here I'm just getting all my little molds filled in with the clay, and then we're gonna flip it over and peel back, and all these little things are gonna pop out. Yeah, I'm making sure I put my clay back in, seal it up so it stays moist for the next time. I've really gotten into working with clay lately. I've always kind of liked it, but like lately it's just been like an obsession that I just gotta make something. I gotta get some molds. It's therapeutic working with clay, and I just really enjoy it. I just love the details in these molds. It's just so amazing. So here I'm just going around my little castings here, kind of get some of that excess clay off. It's easier to get that off while it's dry and not try to break things off when it's wet, I'm sorry, to get it off when it's wet before it dries, because that's going to be really difficult. And yeah, I've already kind of lined it up in my snow globe the way I want it. So I'm just going to use some Type 1 multi-surface glue and just spread it around on the back side of my castings and then add them to my snow globe. And my clay is, I let it sit for a little bit, but it's by no means dry. It's easier to kind of do this while it's wet because then you can really press it down and mold it to the shape of where you want to adhere it to. So, yeah, I kind of do this when it's still wet, and that's okay. Once we got it all glued down, I'm going to let it sit overnight before we start painting it and things like that. And here, I just had a little bit of excess glue seeping out through the edge here, so I just use this little skewer stick to kind of wipe that off, which is very easy to do. But that's why I like to spread it with my finger, so that way there's just less seeping of glue, because you get most of it back off on your finger. So, but if I do, I just go in and wipe that off. And I'm just pressing them all down very gently. You don't want to mess up the details and design on the front side of your clay casting. So just very gently press it down, just so it will stick when it dries. And in the meantime, I got this little house. I'm repurposing it because I haven't been able to find any more. But I painted that with cut its white in the middle part. And here, while the clay is still wet, I'm gonna add some glue so we can get it into the house. And that at that point is when I'm gonna let it sit overnight, so everything is dry adhered and nothing is going to move and it's just ready to paint. So here I started spreading it with a brush because it was a larger area, but I went in with my finger. It's so much easier, and it's just to get it all the way out to the edges of your castings because you want the whole thing to make sure it sticks in there good. And then I'm just making sure, very gently pressing it down, so that way every part of the mold is touching the back part of the little house. And I didn't paint the outside of the house. It's kind of, I think it's splendid gold, metallic paint, and I really liked that look. And I already had a little lighting on the inside, fairy lights, and I left that in there. So it's just a background I had to paint. So this actually kind of worked out well with my little snow globe right here. The picture I had in my head at how I wanted to look at the end. But here we just get some snowflakes and some stars to go around my my snow globe. And here we're gonna start painting. The first thing I do, I'm gonna paint all of it in I believe this is vintage white. And I'm just doing this to give it a uniform look. So when I do go in and paint, I'm painting over the white so you can really see the colors pop on it instead of working it on the clay. So the whole thing is gonna get this vintage white color, and it gives it kind of like a blank canvas. So I'm not going to show you me painting the whole thing, just a little bit so you can kind of see the difference in coloring. Because this is kind of like a process, but it just really brings it to life when you see. I'm going to show you the different colors as I go along, just so you can kind of see the excitement of it coming to life. It's just so satisfying to watch. At least for me it is. I hope it is for you too. But yeah, enjoy it. So here I got all the colors out and I got a bunch of paintbrushes, fine tip, because there's a lot of detail. So I'm going to start with chestnut and nutmeg brown, and I'm going to use these two colors to paint the animals. And I think the squirrel and the fox are going to get chestnut, and the bunny and the deer will get nutmeg brown. Just the chestnut is a little bit light, and I feel like the squirrel and the fox are going to be a little bit on the lighter side. I really wanted the snow bunny to stay a snow bunny, but it kind of blended in with the background a little too much, so I just decided to go ahead and paint it with the nutmeg brown and make it a brown bunny in the winter time, just so it stands out. You know, this is about all the animals out in the woodlands, so I kind of wanted to highlight them. So, and I just, fine tip brush so you can really get into the nooks and crannies of the designs and make sure go around the edges because it's clay. So, it's kind of 3D. So you want to make sure you get around the edges to get the whole animal painted. Otherwise, it's going to kind of look funky. So yeah, I'm working on the edges around it. And I'm kind of going back and forth with the colors right here, but focus on the animals first. This is, I think that's the fox I'm working on right now. And then I go in and work on my trees, and I'm using Christmas green for this one. Normally I prefer to use the antique green, but I wanted to highlight the trees, not cover it up with too much dark. Even though we are gonna go over it later to highlight even more, but I wanted it to be kind of lighter. Yeah. So after I do the trees, I go in with my metallic paint in Splendid Gold, and I'm gonna go ahead and work on the stars, I believe I do. Yeah, I'm gonna do them in Splendid Gold. So the one that's inside the globe, but I'm also doing the stars that's surrounding on the outside. And I'll speed it up here in a second. But then again, you also make sure you go around the edges. All the clay pieces are 3D, so definitely important to make sure you get the edges too, so you get the whole 3D effect with the paint and stuff. It really makes a difference. And you kind of got to lift it up and move it around and manipulate it so you can get into all the little nooks and crannies and the edges. It's important to have a really fine tip brush for that. And here I'm going in with some shimmer. I don't think it has much of a color. It's really like a very shimmery thing, and I wanted to highlight the snowflakes with that. Snow is kind of glistening, shimmery, and so I felt like that was a really good decision. He had decided then also to do the inside of the snow globe, so even though it's out in the woods, but it's kind of like glistening, like gave it a little bit of a snowy effect out there. And I really liked the way that turned out. It's very faint, it's not like overwhelming, but just enough to give it that feel of winter out in the woods. And I really liked how that turned out. And yeah, I got a little bit on my fox, I just wiped it off. And then I'll go in with my cardinal red, and we're gonna go around the frame of the snow globe. There's some flowers on there. I don't know if they are poinsettias, but that's what I pretended they were. So I painted them red. And then the greenery around it, I went in with the antique green, as you can see right here. And then I'm going to use some burnt umber to do the base of my snow globe. First, I was like, it's probably a little bit too dark, but I kind of gave it a woodsy color, which I thought was very appropriate for a woodland scene. But we are going to lighten it up a little bit later with some white wax. And I just love how that pulled out the details and it just looks even more like wood. It's stunning. So yeah, make sure you stay to the end and see the transformation. It's really satisfying and it turns out so beautiful. If I should say so myself, of course. But I do hope you share that opinion. So here, first I did the outline because I was kind of contemplating if I should do the middle part a different color because it was so dark. But, after I kind of did the outlining, I decided to just do the whole thing with the burnt umber. You'll see. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking about it. I was like, yeah, let's do the whole thing. I had this picture in mind and it's going to work out just fine. It's just, got to trust the process. That's really what that comes down to. So I'm painting the whole base with the burnt umber. And then I go in with, okay, so I'm going in with my antique wax to go over the stars and the snowflakes, just to highlight the details, really pull out the little details on these things. So I just add a little bit to them and then I wipe off the excess with a dab off the excess with a paper towel, um, just enough to give it the detail. And if I felt like it was a little bit too dark, I just went in with some more paint um, to go over it, just to kind of mute it down a little bit. So that's the good thing with this antique wax. You can really go on and you can wipe off and you can add some more of the original paint to it. It's not going to take away from the detailing and things. So it worked well. And here on the inside of the snow globe, I'm going to use the white wax um, because I really wanted to highlight the details in a lighter way and also give it that snow globe, snowy, frosty kind of feel to it. And I really like how that turned out. It kind of toned down some of the darker colors. So I do the trees, I do the animals, I do the base of my snow globe, and also around it the greenery and things. So it's not dark, because if I went in with antique wax, it would just be darker. So I decided to do the white, and I'm really happy that I did that, because I just love how that pulled everything together, highlighting everything. And you can see on the base here, it looks more like wood now, because you have the two tones, really three tones, when you get a close-up look at it here later, towards the end of the video. So here I'm going to go around the outline of my snow globe. This was so satisfying doing this, just seeing all this come to life and all the details. These molds from IOD are just so detailed. They're just so gorgeous. And I just love working with them. And I just kind of dab off the excess as I go along here. And see how it kind of muted down the colors? It looks amazing. I love it. Then I've got this little pick from Walmart. And we're just going to spruce up the house a little bit. So it's kind of looking more Christmassy. And kind of have some of the elements of the woods out there to kind of highlight the whole thing and tie it all together. And I just cut two pieces off, and the way the shape of them kind of went with the shape of the roof of the house. It was like perfect. So I just cut two pieces off and I just um, glued them together at the top and then right there at the corner just to make sure it's not going anywhere. And then I'll take a piece of those red berries off to add to the top of the house. And then, lifting up, making sure I have it in the right placement, which I didn't, so I'm fixing it. And that's what it looks like. Make sure you stay and watch to the very end because you'll get a very close-up look at the details of it. But here it is with the lighting. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. Let me know what you think about this one. Yeah, you'll see here when we get a final look. Oh, you'll get up even closer. So here we go. Look at it. Look at the details. It's amazing. And the lighting kind of helps kind of illuminate that. I love this one. I know it's just one project, but it was a process. I really wanted you to see the whole thing come to life from plain clay to this. There's such a big difference. But I love this. And if you made it all the way to the end of the video with me, thank you so much. I really appreciate you watching the whole thing. It really helps me out. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe, like, and comment and hype my video. It would really help me up. I'm still trying to make 1,500 subscribers by Christmas. So if you like this video and you would like to see more, please make sure to hit that subscribe button and help me out. It would really mean the world to me. And now make sure to head over to Nikki's channel and watch her video. I can't wait to see what she came up with. She is amazing and you're just gonna love what she comes up with. So make sure you check out as well. Until next time.